प्रथितमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। आराम से सुनना। श्री भगवानुवाच लोकेऽस्मिन् विविधा निष्ठा पुरा प्रोक्ता मया नघ। ज्ञानयोगेन साङ्ख्यानाम् कर्मयोगेन योगिनाम् न कर्मणामनारम्भात् नैष्कर्म्यं पुरुषोऽश्नुते। न च सन्न्यसनादेव सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति। न हि कश्चित् क्षणमपि यातु तिष्ठत्य कर्मकृत् कार्यते ह्यवशः कर्म सर्वः प्रकृतिजैर्गुणैः। कर्मेन्द्रियाणि संयम्य य आस्ते मनसा स्मरन् इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा मिथ्याचारः स उच्यते। यस्त्विन्द्रियाणि मनसा नियम्यारभतेऽर्जुन कर्मेन्द्रियैः कर्मयोगम् असक्तः स विशिष्यते। So, even though Arjuna has asked questions, every question need not be answered straight. Sometimes that question itself may be very, very illegitimate. Maybe the questioner has not understood something, therefore he raises a question. Therefore, a good teacher always really goes into the topic and let him discover the answer. Why should you give a ready-made answer to a question? Let everybody discover the answers to his or her questions in the light of the truth unfolded. In fact, the questions, the answers discovered for one's questions, the answers discovered for one's questions in the light of the truth unfolded are discovered for good. Answers discovered in the light of the unfoldment of the truth are answers discovered for good. Supposing you give a straight answer, it will be just a statement, he doesn't see it. A one-word answer, it is like saying, Swamiji, is there God? I say yes. Okay, answer. Question is answered. You hear the question, you are yet to discover the answer. Did you hear? Did you hear what I said? Hearing the answer is different from discovering the answer. A good teacher is one who doesn't answer the questions. A good teacher is one who doesn't answer the questions. A good teacher is one who takes the mind of the student into the topic. Let him discover the answers. Let him discover the answers. Why should? It is almost like when a sadhu comes to your kutia and asks for roti, you don't give ready-made roti to him. You say, here is the atta, and here is the dal, and here is the masala, and here is the stove. Banao khao, aur humko bhi de do. That is being a right host. Be a good host. He can also feel at home. ये आपका किचन है, ये दाल है, this is atta, this is dal, this is the stove, this is the water. Please make it and enjoy it and give it to me also. Convert him into a host and you become a guest. Yes. Similarly, a good teacher never gives ready-made answers. I will answer your questions. What are the questions? Swamiji, is there God? Yes, answered. Where is God? He is there in the heart of everybody. Answered. Why are we struggling? Prarabdha. Answered. Is this teaching? Is this teaching? This is not teaching. Bhagavan Krishna was a teacher, understand. He was not just a meant for answering your questions. That is why Bhagavan Krishna did not answer. He took Arjuna's mind into the topic and let him discover. What is the topic? The topic is this. Please understand this very well. The topic is that everybody is born. This birth is one of the many births in the series. This is not the first birth. If this were the first birth, then what was before life? Freedom from the body. Freedom, brother. This body cannot be an abrupt event. Supposing there was no birth before and suddenly there is this birth, then it would have to be accepted. Then it amounts to saying this is an abrupt happening. This is an abrupt event. But it's not right to accept this life as an abrupt event. This is just, like, a given day is one of the many days of one life. Like a given minute in a given day, a given minute in a given day is one of the many minutes. Similarly, a given day is one of the many days in a given life. Similarly, a given life is one of the many lives in one's existence. And everybody is born with a certain sanskara, certain pulls and pushes in one's heart. There is a pull and push felt in one's heart. Every child has a distinct push and pull. But all the available attractions and repulsions, all the available attractions and repulsions, or repulsions, leave it, all the available attractions in life, in this creation, Bhagavan Krishna brings them under two heads. Attraction for the creation and attraction for the source. Very important point. Because attraction has a logic. Attraction is not haphazard. Attraction is not arbitrary. Attraction is not as you like. Attraction in one's heart can happen. In my heart, attractions can happen towards the creation, the objects. I can have attractions for the forms, the sounds, the taste, the touches, the smells, the material pleasures. I can have attractions for the material pleasures. Or I can be totally disinterested in the creation and have attraction for the source. There are only two interests, material interests and spiritual interests. There is no third interest, please. Bahut badi baat hai. In life, what is available in this creation? Wherever you go, there can only be a twofold interest. Every heart has one or the other of these two interests. Either you start to know what is this creation, what could be the source of it. I wonder what could be the source of this universe. One sees oneself as a form. I wonder what could be my source. I wonder what could be my background. I wonder what I was before I was born. I wonder what I would be minus the form. I wonder what could be the source of this form. The pull is towards the source. This pull towards the source is what we call spiritual interest, is called spiritual sanskara, and which language you use, that is the material. It is, but what is to be understood is, it is attraction towards the source. If a person doesn't have the attraction for the source, for Ishvara, this is all language again, it means only the source. What could be behind this whole appearance? This is called the attraction for the source. I wonder what I was before I was born. And I wonder what I might be after I leave the form. I wonder what is my destiny. That means interests transcending the form. Interests transcending the immediate. You see. Therefore, this attraction for the source is what is called Adhyatma Sanskara, spiritual interest. In simple language, he has devotion to God, etc., etc. It's all simple language. But if you really thrash out all the phrases that we use, if you try to find out if we try to make sense out of all the language that we use, it simply means there is some inexplicable pull towards the source. And that pull towards the source is what we call Adhyatma Sanskara. And someone is born with interest, pull only for the objects. I don't care what might be the source. Who cares? I don't care what might be the source of the world. I don't care what I might have been before I was born. And I don't care what I will be after I die. I don't care for these distant things. I don't care for these things. But I would love to enjoy my life. And enjoying life means accumulate the pleasures and enjoy them. Understand? When a layman says, I want to enjoy my life, it is not in a very correct, all that he means what? Enjoy pleasures. Khao, pivo, yash karo. That is what is called enjoying life. Whatever that might mean. Not that really enjoy, it is suffers. This attraction for the material, attraction for money and for all that money can buy. These are called material interests. Think of a third interest. Think of a third interest. Spiritual interest and Every child is born, I tell you, with an accent on either of the two. I don't say every child is born. Very rarely is a child born with solely this or that. In fact, every child is born with a little accent on either of the two. When a child is born with an accent on the spiritual interest, his dream is always, he would not have interest in Grihasthashrama. It is not that really he is someone, he is afraid of Grihasthashrama or anything. It is just that inner, because he is dictated from within. If man can come so easily under the spell of the external dictates, do you think that he is not going to come under the inner dictates? Is it so easy to really silence the inner dictates? Therefore, those inner dictates are the sanskaras, and a person who is born with those inner dictates, and if he is born with the spiritual sanskara, definitely right from the childhood, he would like to become a sadhu. He may not like to become a sadhu, but his interest lies only finding what is. His questions are about the spiritual. What could be the source of the world? What is life? What is death? What will happen after life? What was there before death? It is all the time the question. His whole thinking is, he finds it interesting only to go into that topic. If you talk to him, the material things is not interesting to him, not deliberate. That is the inner dictate. That inner dictate. The inner, he is inwardly dictated by his sanskara. And that sanskara has been built in many lives. And with that sanskara, if a person is born now, then definitely he is dictated by that sanskara. Therefore, either if he is born with a spiritual sanskara, he would be living a life of Sankhya. He would be living a life of sannyasa. He would be living a life for the truth. And if a person is born with a material interest, he will be living a life of grihastha. Thus, how many lifestyles are there? Two. Bhagavan Krishna says, Loke asmin, in this world, dvividha nishtha, there are only two paths. Dvividha nishtha. In life, there can only be two paths. Why can't there be more? It's not available. There are only two paths. The third path is not available. When you turn the pages, do it silently, don't make noise. Don't do like Aitanai. How to turn the pages, you learn from me. Like this. Slowly. And then do it and put a clip. So that with the hava doesn't. And then don't do all this. Put this, saliva and then stay there. That's all. You should just get out of all these things. Learn. Understand? The third path is not available, please. Third path is not available. If you say there are 4 paths, 5 paths, they just don't know what they are talking. It is not karma marga, one path, bhakti marga, another path, jnana marga, the third path, yoga is the 4th path, Raj. This is not. Krishna says there are only 2 paths. In fact, he doesn't even say 2 paths, he says a 2-fold one path. Very beautiful. That is called teaching. Krishna says, hey, don't think there are too many paths to the truth. There is only one path, but it is 2-fold. Dvividha, singular. It's a 2-fold. Dvividha, nishtha, singular. There is only a twofold path. You see? Lokesmin dvividha nishtha pura prokta mayanaga. I am going to unfold this. Please try to understand. Pura, at the time of creation. Prokta was taught. Maya, by me. Anagha, Arjuna. It is, I created this. At the time of the creation, I only created a twofold path. What does it mean? I say at the time of creation, along with the creation was created the path to the truth, and that happened to be the twofold truth. That is what is available. That is called a part of creation. That is what is available. That's what is available. A twofold path is what has been available right from the beginning. It is not God's decision, not your decision. That is what is available. That's determined by the truth. That is determined by the truth. Truth itself determines a twofold path to understanding the truth. Meaning what? Either I can be a grihastha and do my duty because I am born with a desire for the world. I can't hide my attraction for money. I can't hide my desire for a woman. I can't hide my desire for pleasures. And they're all there. And I become a teenager and I have attraction for this world, what I can enjoy. I am born with the sanskara for pleasures, material pleasures. I want to enjoy. What should I do? Do we take a sannyasa or become a grihastha? Shastra says, by and large, let everybody become a grihastha. Exceptions, they will manage themselves. Don't worry. But the rule is, after becoming a brahmachari, become a grihastha. There is a mandate. Veda manujya acharya. Ante bhashanam anushasti. At the end, towards the Anushasanam, it is said, Prajatandum ma vyavachetsi. Never ignore the fact that you should get married and have children. Yes. Why should one get married and have children? In conformity with your desire. You cannot really overcome the desire also. You cannot even you can't even wriggle out of the desire without creating a situation in which you can satiate your desire. Supposing, you understand, this is satiating one's senses. Satiating one's senses also helps a person slowly in time to grow out of it. Even though satiating one's desires, satisfying one's desires itself is not freedom from them, but satisfying one's desires can help him to grow out of them in time, because having seen it, he can understand there is nothing more to it. Understand? You see a pleasure and understand there is nothing more to it. You have the basis on which you can reason. If a person has not seen the pleasures, then he will be entertaining illusions about them, and therefore if somebody tells him there is nothing, he can't say yes, there is nothing. Why? Because he doesn't know. But he has attractions. Supposing one is born with no attraction for this, he is born wise, I am telling you. He is born wise. Attraction for the source is wisdom. Yes. Attraction for the source is wisdom, because he understands there is nothing in this world. In fact, if there is some solution, it has to be in the source. But if a person is born with a mind full of desires, for him what is mandatory? Grihastha. Therefore, after brahmacharya, what is the general principle? Grihastha. Grihastha. And once you become a grihastha, then you become a vanaprastha or you become a sannyasi. Now, I am going to tell a lot of things in this connection because this is something, I can't just touch it and go. As a teenager, your spiritual sanskara becomes manifest. You get vairagyam even as a teenager. Shastra gives you permission to become a sannyasi even from the state of brahmacharya. Yadahareva virajet, tadahareva pravrajet. The day you become wise about this world, you can readjust your lifestyle. You can readjust your lifestyle. You don't have to, just because you have started in a given direction, there is no such a thing that you should not change the direction. With the dawn of wisdom, you can change the direction. Shastra gives you sanction to change the direction. As a teenager, supposing in another few years, I am supposed to enter Grihastha Ashrama and suddenly I become wise. Something happens in my mind. My age-old sanskara surfaces in my mind. Suddenly I start thinking in terms of the source, etc. Let me put it this way. My spiritual sanskaras become manifest. Genuine spiritual sanskaras become manifest. The genuine spiritual sanskaras are not in the form of the fears of Grihasthashrama. Did you hear that? You didn't hear it, I will repeat it again. The spiritual sanskaras are not in the form of the fears of Grihasthashrama. If I get married, then afterwards, Patani, what will my wife do? Whether she will serve my mother or not, or whether she will serve my father or not, or my father-in-law, will he give me that Greater Kailash house or not, etc., etc. These fears of Grihasthashrama are different from spiritual sanskaras. As a teenager, if I get my spiritual sanskaras manifest on my mind, I can change my direction, I can turn, I can move away from Grihasthashrama and even from Brahmacharya Ashrama, I can become a sannyasi. Vedic culture gives a sanction and it recommends, if you get vairagyam, try to pursue your spiritual pursuit. Please do your spiritual studies if there is a genuine spiritual interest. Okay, this is one point. Having become a grihastha, your spiritual sanskara becomes, genuine spiritual sanskara becomes a manifest. After you become a grihastha, the mandate is somehow or other complete your grihastha, and after grihastha you can take sannyasa, but in the meantime be wise enough to prepare yourself for sannyasa, and that is called karma yoga. Karma yoga is that which prepares the grihastha for sannyasa. Did you hear what I said? Grihastha karma yoga is that which prepares a grihastha. Karma yoga is that which prepares a grihastha, for sannyasa. Aram se baithe. What did I say? Karma yoga is that which prepares a grihastha for knowledge. Preparing a person for sannyasa and preparing a person for knowledge mean the same thing. Therefore, as a grihastha, I am living a wise life. I do my duties and I follow my values. I raise my prayers and I am preparing myself for the great pursuit, the great study of the truth, this preparing oneself for the self-knowledge is the job of Karma Yoga. Therefore, that is one path. A Grihastha going through Karma Yoga, preparing himself for the final knowledge is one path. What does that Grihastha ultimately want? Jnanam. He wants to gain Jnanam. And similarly, if a person renounces the Grihastha and becomes a sannyasi, then what does he do? He totally occupies himself with the study, and that is also, he is trying to figure out the truth. One is preparing. Karma Yoga is preparing the person for knowledge, whereas Karma Yoga is preparing the person for the topic, whereas Sannyasa is getting into the topic proper. Karma Yoga is preparing one for the topic, and Sannyasa is getting down to the topic proper. In both the cases, the topic is the same. Therefore, are they two paths or a twofold one path? It's a twofold one path. This particular thing, Bhagavan says in the next line, please see. Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam. One path is Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga means the path of studying the truth to understand it. That is sannyasa. Jnana Yogena. By the path of study, by the path of reflection, by the path of verifying what is said in oneself. This whole Shravanam, Adhyayanam, Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, this whole scriptural study to understand oneself is what? Solely to the exclusion of any duty is called Jnana Yoga. Exclusively taking up the topic of one's existence, taking up the topic of the self, taking up the study of oneself, taking up the reflection on oneself, taking up the understanding of oneself to the exclusion of everything else is what is called sannyasa, is otherwise called Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam. There you can write down Sannyasinam. Sannyasinam means, sannyasi is not another species. In the same Grihastha becomes a sannyasi. The same brahmachari becomes a sannyasi. Sannyasi is not someone of some other species. Therefore, Jnana Yoga, one approach to the truth is you take it up to the exclusion of everything else. Another approach to the truth is Karma Yogena Yogina. Karma Yogena. Karma Yoga is doing your duties as prayer. That is called Karma Yoga. Doing your duties as a prayer. Karma Yoga. Yogina Grihasthana. That yogi means Grihasthana. I'm explaining it exactly in the traditional manner. I'm not trying to play to the gallery. It is always better to know your culture as it is, without any mess in it. What is this Vedic culture? It is better that you know it. Whether you follow it later on or not, that's a different matter. It is always better to call spade a spade. One approach to the truth is, taking up the study of the truth to the exclusion of all responsibilities, to the exclusion of all duties, and to the exclusion of all relationships. Because this whole mess goes together. Duty, relationship, responsibility, you understand? Pleasures, earning, saving, enjoying, relationship. You understand now? This is what is called samsara. This comes as a package. It comes in one package. duties and responsibilities. We understand, duties and responsibilities and relationships, parents and children and chacha and chachi and tavu and tavi and this and that. What is all this? Sansar. And a person can take up the study of the truth to the exclusion of this whole mess. That is what is called. The very scripture gives him the sanction to renounce for the purpose of understanding the truth. Therefore, renunciation is not an escape from samsara. Did you hear that? Sannyasa is not an escape. Sannyasa is, by choice, you decide to give up everything for something fantastic, that is to dedicate your life for understanding the truth, for understanding what the scripture is telling. That is called a life of sannyasa. And what is the second approach? You remain in duties. You live with people. You live amid duties. You perform their duties. You fulfill all your responsibilities. And you enjoy the world also. You see the world. You enjoy the world. You also understand its limitations. Slowly overcome the inner attractions for the world. Overcome the attractions for the world. Overcome the attractions for the world by closely observing that they have nothing more to give than temporary pleasures. Thus, very closely, not only enjoy the world, but very closely observe the world and very closely understand the world. The more we understand what attracts us, the less we get attracted. Understand? The more we understand what attracts us, the more we analyze what attracts us, the less we get attracted. Because we don't analyze, we start thinking, we put gloss on things. This is called Shobhanadhyasa. Meaning, we imagine something, big in the objects. We have illusions about the objects. We get entertained, illusions about money. It's like, entertaining illusions about your Switzerland trip. Do you follow? I will go to Switzerland and I will travel here, there and all that. Already you are in Switzerland. And then after going there, all that you get is nothing but fatigue. Too much of cold. And bills are too tiring. And everything, and then the same bread and then Indian food you crave for and nowhere it is available. Ultimately you come back with a heavy heart. Definitely, it has made a dent on your attraction for Switzerland. Definitely. If it has made a dent, that means you have learnt a lot from your trip. In fact, Vairagyam for the world is what one can gain from the world. Supposing you enjoy the world, listen, supposing you enjoy the world and you do not get Vairagyam, you have got nothing. Did you hear that? Supposing you have enjoyed the world, you have earned, you have enjoyed the world and it has not put Vairagya in your heart. That means you are too insensitive a person. A sensitive person can't but get Vairagyam after going through pleasures. Vairagya means not disgust. Vairagya means becoming wiser. It is not showing an emotion. It is not a disgust. It is not a dislike. It is not hatred. That's not wisdom. To dislike is not wisdom. To hate is not wisdom. To feel disgusted is not wisdom. Wisdom is to become wiser in the sense, all that I am looking for is not there in this world. Is it a dislike or is it a discovery? It's a discovery. Understand? Discovering a reality is called wisdom. All that I know, in fact, not only I have not been able to discover what I want in this world, in fact, nobody has ever discovered it. nobody can ever discover. It is a wisdom. He gains the wisdom that everybody one day has to gain. Are you able to follow? He gains a wisdom which everybody has to one day gain. This world, it doesn't have what I am looking for. If he becomes wiser, I tell you, he is already qualified for knowledge. He is already qualified for sannyasa. He is already qualified for getting into the topic proper. Therefore, there are only a twofold path. One is a person who is born with a spiritual sanskara takes up the study of the truth to the exclusion of everything. And another is he becomes a grihastha because he is born with certain attractions for the world. He is born with the desires. But then he doesn't become a grihastha just only to fulfill the desires. It is wrong. A person becomes a grihastha not merely to fulfill the desires. In fact, the purpose is, the Shastra says, you become a grihastha and see the world so that you can grow out of your desires. Even after fulfilling desires, it's not that fulfillment. You grow out of the desires. The more you enjoy the world, the more you see the world, the more you observe the world, very closely you observe the world, you understand what you are looking for is not there anywhere in this world, neither on the earth nor in heaven. Thus, Grihastha makes you wiser. Grihastha prepares you for knowledge. Therefore, Grihastha not only prepares a Grihastha for knowledge. Grihastha is like a cornerstone. Grihastha sustains brahmachari. A brahmachari is maintained by Grihastha. A vanaprastha is maintained by Grihastha. A sannyasi is maintained by Grihastha. And minus a Grihastha, the society is gone. I am telling you, it is the Grihastha, the family. It is the family that sustains the society. It is the Grihastha that sustains the society. Therefore, as a Grihastha, I am supposed to be a karma yogi. And what is karma yogi? Do my duties, but in order to grow wise. I do my duties. I even fulfill my desires. I earn and enjoy. I save and enjoy. I keep my senses open to the world. I go through the fires of the Grihastha in order to come out wiser. Why do I want to come out wiser? So that there is a great pursuit, there is a great study awaiting for me. That is so that I can concentrate on the study of the truth. Therefore, a sannyasi wants to know the truth, a grihastha. Now see, a sannyasi renounces everything in order to know the truth. A grihastha does his duties in order to know the truth. How many paths? How many paths? One path. But it is lived in two ways. It is one pursuit with two lifestyles. If you like the language. If it is one pursuit, but two lifestyles. It is one pursuit. It is a grihastha is pursuing the truth in the midst of duties. A grihastha is pursuing the peace, the truth in the midst of the duties. Whereas a sannyasi pursues the truth to the exclusion of all duties. All duties means, understand, the duties generally in the duties of a husband, the duties of a son, the duties of a father, the duties of this. He has not, because he has renounced all the roles. When you renounce all the roles, then you have no duties. But is it becoming lazy? Is renunciation meant for becoming lazy? No, renunciation has a purpose. Like duty has a purpose. Renunciation also has a purpose. Here, duty is for the purpose of preparing oneself for understanding the truth. Here, duty is a part of the pursuit of the truth. And renouncing duties is also a study of the truth, which is for the purpose of knowing the truth. Therefore, where a grihastha has a purpose in front, a sannyasi also has a purpose in front, and both have a common purpose. And therefore, a grihastha always respects sannyasi because that is his destination. Understand? A grihastha respects sannyasa because that is going to be his destination. You cannot be disrespectful to your destination. And a sannyasi is respectful to the grihastha because he knows in some life or the other, that is what prepared him, that is what really made, that is what really helped him to become a sannyasi. The road and the means and the end. When you reach the end, you are still respectful to the means. And when you are yet to reach the end, you are respectful to the end to be reached. The means is respectable, the end is respectable. Grihasthashrama is the means and sannyasa is the end. Duty is the means, and finally preparing oneself to understand the truth is the end. Which is better and which is less? Can you compare like this? Which is better between the means and the end? Which is better? Cooking food is better or cutting vegetables is better? Bataiye. Cooking is better or cutting vegetables, washing rice, वगैरह and kneading the flour, preparing the atta, वगैरह, which is better? Hey, don't compare. Where comparison is not possible, don't initiate comparisons. Where comparisons are meaningless, where comparisons don't make sense, there don't make comparisons. You can make comparisons where they make sense, but where they don't make sense, don't make comparisons. Don't try, just because you have the faculty to compare, don't try to compare where it is not possible. Therefore, there is no comparison between means and end. Shankaracharya, Adi Shankaracharya, who has explained away our culture to us, if there is one individual, you see, the Shruti talks it talks in Sanskrit, but it makes statements. But statements need elaboration. And that elaboration has been done by Shankaracharya, Adi Shankaracharya, the one who was the first Shankaracharya, hundreds of years ago, Adi Shankaracharya. I tell you, he has explained away our culture, which is understandable even for a schoolboy. And therefore, please understand, if there is one individual, just as Mahatma Gandhi, we can never forget what he has done to this nation. Similarly, we can never forget Shankaracharya, what he has done to this nation. Till then, the tradition used to be oral. I want you to understand this point. Until Shankaracharya came, this whole teaching was oral, meaning I capture it in my memory and then teach it to my student. And he also memorizes the whole thing, captures it in his memory, holds it in his memory, holds it in his consciousness and hands it over to his student. But what is the guarantee that memory can be always there? It is always risky to continue to keep the oral tradition. It is always better to put it in writing. Shankaracharya put down the whole vision in black and white. That is what we call Bhashyam. When we say Shankara Bhashyam, it is Shankaracharya first time put down in black and white the whole vision of the scripture. That is why Shankaracharya We call him Bhashyakara, meaning what? The one who explained the way. And he says while writing Bhashyam on Bhagavad Gita, and the Bhashyam that he has written is the sweetest. Why? Because he himself he understood really what Krishna taught. It is so useful for the society. Therefore, he spent extra time and he gave his whole heart and soul in explaining every verse very beautifully. And now come back to the point. While writing the Bhashyam, he says, please don't compare Upaya with Upeya, he says. Upaya is what prepares you for knowledge. Upeya is that very knowledge. Don't compare the means with the end. Because you require your disciplines. All that prepares you for knowledge is very respectable. The means is very respectable. And the end is also very respectable. Therefore, for example, they say prayer prepares you. Therefore, respect prayer the same way as you respect Brahma Vidya. Discipline prepares you for Brahma Vidya. Therefore, respect discipline the same way as you respect Brahma Vidya. Your duty prepares you for Brahma Vidya. Respect your duty the same way as you respect Brahma Vidya. In fact, all that prepares you for Brahma Vidya, you should learn to respect. Don't say, this is only preparatory and that is the goal. Hey, this is exactly a wrong thing. I'll tell you how it is. It is a wrong way of thinking in life. I'll tell you how it is. We always respect the ultimate, we disrespect the immediate. Why? I always respect the ultimate goal of life. What about today? What about today? You say, if I can't respect today, I can't respect tomorrow, I can't respect the whole life. If I can't respect the immediate, really, if I can't respect my immediate duty, how am I going to respect my whole life? Like, for example, when you are serving people in a household, somebody says, please make a cup of tea for me. Says, you are prepared to do bigger things for the person, but making a cup of tea is a small thing. You have no respect for it. Hey, even a small gesture is equally respectable. It's not just writing a check and giving it to him is a big service. In fact, every small little gesture of comforting the other person is seva. And unless you respect the small gestures, you can't really respect the big things. Therefore, Shankaracharya, who has explained away our whole culture, he tells us, hey, don't compare the Upaya with Upeya. Therefore, between Grihastha and Sannyasi, who is better? Bataiye. I have given you the entire background. Between Sannyasi and Grihastha, who is better? Sai, who is better? Alright, this is going to be the homework for you. So you can think and come to the next class and tell me, Swamiji, we have figured out the riddle. What is there to figure out? Kuch ho to na? Understand? Again, in the light of what you have heard, in the light of what the Shastram says is, Grihastha and Sannyasi, between Brahmachari and Grihastha and Vanaprastha, and Vanaprastha and Sannyasa, there is no comparison, please. Because each is related to the truth. As a Brahmachari, I am studying, and the studying is related to the truth. Duties, as a Grihastha, my duties are related to the truth. And when I withdraw from Grihastha Ashrama, retiring from the duty and live in seclusion, and even that retirement is related to the truth. I am related, that's delayed. A person retires and goes to a seclusion for what? Only for knowing the truth. Therefore, even Vanaprastha ashrama is related to the truth, and sannyasa is related to the truth. Just think of the four. Study, related to the truth. Duty, related to the truth. Withdrawal, related to the truth. Total renunciation, related to the truth. These are the four stages of life. These are the four first stage. You are there studying, learning the language, etc. Like academic study. That is study. You have to become educated to know, to go further. As an illiterate, I can't go further. Therefore, as a brahmachari, I am studying. This is related to the truth. And as a grihastha, I am learning. I am doing my duties and also learning and fulfilling my desires. And also slowly growing out of desires. Is it not? I am fulfilling desires and also growing out of desires. That is called learning. Doing and learning is related to the truth. And when you withdraw, retire to a quiet place, when you become a vanaprastha, you may try to just hand over all the responsibilities to your children and then retire. What is it? Related to the truth. Therefore, look at every ashrama as related to the truth. Don't look at retirement as majburi. My children are not listening, therefore चाहते हैं, कहते हैं कि पापा दे दो, बहुत दिन हो गया, दे दो, चाबी दे दो, तो हम तो कुछ कह नहीं सकते, तो इसलिए हम दे देते हैं. That means what? You always look at retirement as a helpless situation. Handing over is looked upon as a helpless situation. It's a very unfortunate thing. You should look upon your retirement as a blessing that you have earned it. You have to look upon your retirement as something that you have earned. I had to work for so many years in order to get this blessing that I don't have to do anything. I can be quiet and think about the truth. Therefore, look upon duty not as a majburi. Duty is something that is related to the truth. Study is related to the truth, and even retirement related to the truth, and even renunciation related to the truth. Thus, all the four ashrams, in fact, can be brought under two. One is preparing yourself for the truth, and sannyasa is getting down to the topic proper to understand it. That is called sannyasa. How many paths are there? Only one path, but two-fold one path. That is called Vedic culture. Our culture is nothing but a two-fold path. Every grihastha is first a karma yogi. Every grihastha is a karma yogi. Every grihastha is doing a duty only for the purpose of final knowledge. And therefore here, Bhagavan says, just I am concluding, look at the verse, Lokesmin vividha nishtha pura prokta mayanagha. In this world there is only a two-fold path, and that is what is available. And one is karma yogena yoginam. For grihasthas, the means, the path is karma yoga. And for sankhyas, the sannyasis, the path is jnana yoga. In both really there is truth involved. I am a karma yogi to understand myself. I am a sannyasi again to understand myself. And see, I am going to just conclude it on this note. Think of this logic. If karma yoga is for one topic and sannyasa is another topic, then grihastha ashrama and sannyasa ashrama become unrelated. Is it not? If karma yoga is for one purpose and sannyasa is for another purpose, they become unrelated. But all the four ashrams are for the same purpose, therefore they all become related. All four ashrams are related. Between one stage and another stage, there is a relation. We will continue this topic later. Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnas